Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Beauty Box for Him community. Let me go on my page to see if I can pull me up because I want to see what's going on. I'm so excited. There we go. About what's going on. All right, all right. We're going to give it a minute. Wait for people to join in. Yes. There I am. Hey, Angel Weaver, how are you? Good evening. Hey, Cynthia Shelton. Hey, Mary Henderson James. How are y'all doing? We are excited about what's about to happen. We have a guest speaker on, Joe Wells. It's been my friend for a few years now. I don't even know how long. We're going to hear from her in a minute, but I want to take 1 minute to just share with you guys what's going on in the Beauty Box for Him community. We have things like this. I hope that you guys invite your friends because we are constantly having guests on and empowering us, enriching our lives, inspiring, motivating us, and of course, educating us. Because behind every guest, I like to get to know who the woman behind the guest is because y'all, we need each other and we have to encourage each other. It just makes life so much sweeter. Okay, so this Saturday coming up at noon at my house, we're doing part 2 of the Esther study. Please, please, please come and bring a friend. Just let me know if you're coming and if you're bringing a friend. And then next, every day during the week, we have devotionals. Should I say devotions or devotionals? Joe, you tell me that because I always get confused. Devotions, devotionals, where I read and share and we pray to get our day started every weekday at 7 a.m. Central Time. So make sure that you jump on for that. And then next Wednesday, I have that in front of me. Next Wednesday, the 26th, we're going to be Let's Talk About It with me. We're going to be talking about everything Beauty Box. It's going to be great. You don't want to miss next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Now, starting May, we're going to do 7. We've been doing 6 o'clock every Wednesday. We're going to do 7 because it just works better for people who work during the day. Okay, so I am excited to bring you this beautiful lady who I know from my Mary Kay day. She's a sales director with Mary Kay, and she is going to share with us tips on academic and college planning. She is going to tell you about herself. I'm going to share the screen, bring her on, and we're going to talk. Hey, Amelia Amos and Stephanie Malton. Hey, Angel Weaver. Hey, Deetra. Hey, Deetra Sean. All right, so I'm going to bring her on now, and we're going to say hello. Say hello to Joe Wells.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Thank you so much, Cheryl. I feel like I've known you forever. I don't even know. I don't know the exact year, but I just know it's been many years. And it's been at least 13 years since I've been part of the Mary Kay family. So I bet I've known you at least 10. I bet I've known you or at least admired you.
I just love it. Love it. I just love that I know such amazing women from so many different places. And this is just another one. And Beauty Box. Oh, somebody said devotionals. Okay.
It's devotionals. Yes, devotionals.
We're going to have devotionals. Okay. Because I was like, devotionals. I don't know. And of course, I didn't bother to look it up because y'all know I don't mind making mistakes and asking for help. So we're going to introduce Joe, and Joe is going to come on. And Joe, before you start with the educational part, tell us about you. How'd you get here? We want to know the story behind the woman.
Thank you. Well, wow. I tell you, one thing that I live by daily is don't worry about the journey that you're going through right now. You'll look back and you'll know it was exactly right. Whether it's a happy occasion, sad occasion, you'll know that journey was exactly right for where you are. And so I've been an educator for 24 years. My mom was a teacher. She taught early childhood, and I said I would never do that. Be careful what you say, you never will do. But I have the mom of 5 kids. So Paul and I, we're both educators. We have 5 children, 29, 27, 23, 23, and 18. Yes, you heard it right. We cheated. We have twins. And the 4 first children are all girls. And then we have one son. He's currently a senior in high school. So they're beyond college. One's in medical school, one's a teacher. Our twins are still in college, and we have one headed to college. And so how did I get here? Because of my family, because of my journey, and just having children and being a mom and understanding the goals that we have as parents of doing whatever is best for them and trying to be in front of everything that's best. And just going through their journey in school, I realized early on, being a legal assistant, when we had our first children, that was too busy a life for what I wanted for my children. So I remembered my mom and how she was always with us in the summers, on breaks. We had that continuity. And I thought, I'm going to just look into it, and I thought, oh, I want to be a counselor. A counselor, that is something that I can do. I'm a great listener. I love sharing ideas. I loved the idea of being able to talk to children about their future. And lo and behold, that is not what counselors get to do. But I was able to at least learn that. So I taught English, 7th grade English. You have to teach first. I did that. I got a master's in counseling. And while I was getting my master's, I was doing the internship and realized that the administrators actually got to speak more to children, listen to children through indiscretion sometimes. And I wanted to be able to be that. So while I was in my master's program, I took a few extra courses, did another master's comps, and I got a second master's in administration. So I have my undergrad in psychology. I'm a certified teacher. I was a counselor and administrator. And I've worked K through 12. I've worked at the elementary level. I started out in middle school as a teacher, but I was also a counselor there. I've been a counselor at the high school level, middle school level, and elementary level. And I've been an administrator in the middle school and high school secondary. And so my journey has been one of those that looks like that on the success chart. It's like, what do you want? And along the way, I will share just a little bit. Mary Kay came into my life because I was a very busy administrator that needed a lipstick. And I was invited to something because I bothered to sign up to buy this kit of amazement. And I learned in that journey about doing things on purpose and to be purposeful in everything that you do, whether it looks like it's going somewhere or not. As long as today I'm doing the right thing today, and working towards something that I know today is positive in my life, my family's life, or the world, that is the magic. And so there's so many things that I learned along the way in having a business that I didn't do anything with my education background for many years, because I was gathering information to help my children and being a great educator to help thousands of children in my regular everyday job. And then I would go to these things that would teach me how to really look insightfully at what you want. And then I started to share that more with my students and talk to them about, what do you want? And that's what I want to talk about today, Cheryl, is the process. People, it sounds crazy, but when I was a high school counselor, I would get calls from elementary parents all the time asking about what classes their children should take and things like that. And people it's what you don't know, you don't know. People start really early in that planning and strategy. So that's what I want to share with the Beauty Box for Him tonight.
We are so excited to have you because parenting really does not come with a guide.
Not.
I want to tell you, when you have people, God sent people along the way to help you in these, when you're at those forks in the road, it means everything. And it means everything to have an educator who cares.
Mm.
And you said something about like, what do you want to do? I think, and I call it kindergarten. I call it kindergarten because you're free and you can fly and you can do anything until you get to kindergarten, and then you have to color it within the lines. You have to walk in a line. You have to be seen and not heard. You just are told to kind of blend in. And
Yeah.
I like that you still can achieve and do things that you love. And I feel like we should get more of that. What are you good at? What are you good at? What do you want to do? You still can do it. Because I think that part of the beauty box is about dreaming again. It's about waking up. God is still the same as he was yesterday. Today will be tomorrow. He still performs the miracles. He still wants us to have a life of abundance. And we can, because if you look at the news and everything is so scary and depressing.
Yeah.
And so I like to bring light to life to these children. And you can. And so I'm so happy and blessed. We are so blessed at the Beauty Box to have you. You just have a great little spirit and a little light anyway, Jo Wells. All of my consultants, there's a bug in here. All of my consultants just loved you, and you're such a great teacher. And I know because I've sat under your feet and heard you teach. So relatable, so down to earth, and you just make things make sense. So you guys are in for a treat. While she's speaking, if you have questions, put them in the comments section. I'm going to go away from the screen, but I'll be watching the thread, and any pertinent questions we will ask Ms. Jo Wells. So Jo, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. So I talked about 3 easy steps. I didn't say easy. 3 simple steps from elementary to college. So planning, organization, strategy. 3 simple steps. Not easy by any means, but on purpose living. So when we talk about, the elementary student that's transitioning to middle school, a lot of times parents are just trying to figure out that big mean place, that big building that they're going to be going to, especially that first child. They're worried about them fitting in, about new friends, because usually they're going to a bigger place than the elementary they're in. And whether you're going private or public, I've worked in both. My children have attended both. It doesn't matter. It's going to be new. There's going to be new families, new friends, transition. Transition is not easy. And so just with 3 good steps that you're using throughout your life in transitioning from job to job, from undergraduate to graduate, from elementary to middle, just 3 things that if you focus on those and make sure that you're living your daily life with a good plan, then you will find that you're passing that on. And that's probably the biggest thing that I've done for my own children. So let's kind of break those up at the different levels. So planning is the big picture to the small picture. It is not just putting things on a calendar. So I use a lot of different calendars. This is just one of many. I use a calendar. Oh, that heart. Paula and I celebrated our 30th anniversary on Monday. The calendar that you use could be a small one. It could be a big one. It could be an electronic one. So I use both a manual calendar that I write in, and I also use an electronic one. But I'm not talking about just dumping things in a calendar that you never go back and look at. I'm talking about actual, this is what's going on in the next 90 days. What do I need to do to get there? What time do I have to give to it? As young as 3rd and 4th grade, in most schools today, students start to get planners so that they can start getting used to that type of strategy that they're using to plan out and be successful with their studies. They may be in a sports activity along with that. It could be summer and they're doing a trip or Girl Scouts or a lot of different things. But children are so busy nowadays. And it's been at least a decade where they are very good about learning how to put their information for school in some sort of planner, whether it's a paper planner or their phones. There's even some apps that are amazing. Remind is one of them that I use regularly. But they're setting goals so that they are successful. In elementary, one of the most important transitions to middle school is prioritizing things because you're juggling more. So when you're in elementary, your parents are driving you everywhere, middle school too. But one of the things by the time you get to middle school is you're able to plan some things ahead and start to let your parents know. In elementary, you've told your kids every step of the way what you're doing this morning, middle day, and end of the day, you've run their race for them most of the time. They get from point A to point B often because you've gotten them there. Even their schoolwork. You've looked at the newsletter from their elementary team. Maybe you've even looked on an electronic calendar that they're using nowadays, especially post-COVID. Everybody went to using technology, and even our young ones use Seesaw and all kinds of other Google Classroom, things that will help them to stay organized, get updates, have it right at their fingertips. And so they are getting more used to things being on there for school. What oftentimes people forget is to balance everything. So I see a lot of students that the pendulum is really swung too far and they don't have that type of balance. So the organization, who are the players, who are the people, what's my role in my life, whether I'm in elementary, middle, or high school, going to college. From elementary, I'm trying to make sure that I'm taking care of all the things that I need to be a good student, to be a great baseball player. I want to please my parents. So having that time that you plan and organize your child with your child, not just organizing them by the time they're in fifth, sixth, whichever that transition year that they're headed from elementary, even if they're staying in a K-12 school. Some private schools start in pre-K, go to 12th grade, but they're still transitioning. The activities they're doing, the level of work they're expected to do in each day, each period, the short periods of time. That changes at about fifth grade to sixth grade. For some places, there's an intermediate, and it may go sixth to seventh, but still that planning and organization of how they will balance all that they're doing to go from 20 to 30-minute lessons to class periods that's 45 to 50 minutes, and then an extra 20 to 30 minutes of homework each day. Finally, the strategy, how to get there. You've got to work with them and start training them in elementary so that as they transition to middle school, they have a great strategy of how to become a better baseball player, how to pitch better. If it's dance, working on those dance moves. See, it's not just about going academics. It's how you do everything. How people do anything is how they do everything. It all starts to flow together. A well-trained child will grow up with great habits of how to stay organized and, most importantly, achieve balance. So planning, organization, and strategy. Let's look at that for a middle school student. 6th, 7th, 8th are typical middle school, junior high. In some places, they call it junior high. Those are the years where there's so much growth and development personally. Children, it's hormones, it's all kinds of opportunities that open up in middle school, junior high for sports, dance, competitions, things that take a fun activity that you might have done on Saturday up to competitive, and them also learning the things that they're best at and the things they enjoy. You guys, this is so critical at this time, their organization, the planning, the strategies on the things that are truly their strengths and not, dare I say, not living vicariously through the things that were our goals when we were their age and pushing athletics or dance or engineering onto our children just because we think that it may be their strength. When you're bothering to plan, when you're looking at what their big picture is, what types of electives they start to choose. In elementary, they try everything. By the time they get to middle school, they start to look at, maybe get to survey even in 6th grade, a few different things. But then by the time you get to 7th grade, maybe they're looking at really going for languages, or they're looking at, being an athlete and spending their extra time on that. They may choose to play an instrument or be an artist. There's so many opportunities that come to them at that level. and they still have math, science, ELA, social studies, and all the other electives that come along with being a student at the junior high level. Some students also, by the time they're in 7th grade, they start to transition to high school, if you can believe it, which is why I get calls in high school from elementary parents, because they may have a sibling that already they went through the process. They didn't plan the way they thought they had for that transition in middle school, to look at where would they want them to focus their time: more math, more science, more sports? Where do they really want them to be, so that when they got ready to transition from middle school to high school, they could already be on that pathway? By the time students are in 8th grade, they are well on their way. So let's look at transitioning to high school. Planning, organization, strategy. So they're in middle school, probably about 8th grade. Maybe you have one right now that just finished doing their course selection to go to high school. They might have already started to, hi, Cheryl, I see you coming by. Do you have a question?
I just got to say, this is so good. I'm serious. I'm like, wait. Because you're talking about planning, and you know what we've learned. People don't plan to fail. They fail to plan, right? So that's the first thing I thought of. And then you were talking about just knowing your child and their gifts, and working in their gifts and getting to know what they're good at. Because I think in this time right now, before you go to high school, is very critical with their self-esteem and their self-confidence and social media. They're comparing themselves, and they don't need us doing that as well. Because why can't you be more like your sister? Why can't you be more like your brother, or so on and so forth? Because we can get caught doing that, especially if the first child is just on top of it. And then we get the child that just is like, where did they come from? So I like that. And then, so those are some of the things I thought about. And I thought a lot of people are having mental health issues. And so I think that it's just good just to start them off planning and knowing their strengths, and not so much pressure. I think sometimes kids don't get to be kids anymore. So with that being said, I'm going to leave. I just had to throw that out there.
That is perfect. Yes. And throughout all of this, as they're transitioning from elementary to middle school to high school, I hope you're hearing me, what their gifts are, what their talents, what their wants are. Because the secret, if anybody wants to know the secret of being an A student to being a great student, is working in your gifts. When students are pushed and pressured to compare themselves and run, with somebody's goals in math and science is not their gift, then it's a struggle. And so, as I was saying, going from 8th grade to 9th grade, you start to look at those high school courses that should fall in your gifts, should fall in your interests. So you might take a language, Spanish, German, whatever your school may offer. And you may also consider taking Algebra 1. And even in 7th grade, some students do that. Is that for everyone? No. If you don't do that, are you going to be behind? No. There's opportunity to play catch up. And guess what? There's only so much math you can do all the way through your senior year. So starting in middle school is not a requirement, especially because some careers don't require you to have more than 4 years of math to start with. But you don't know that as a 7th grader. You surely don't know it as a 5th grader. So I always encourage parents to look at your child's gifts. And if there's certain areas that you want to accelerate them in, make sure it's those areas where they naturally fall in an interest or talent. They may not like math, but they're great at it. So you want to make sure that you encourage them in that way. And encouraging them is talking about what they can do with that later, how they can use that for something, maybe for summer. There's lots of summer opportunities and things like that. There's so much I want you guys to know, and I have limited time. But in your planning, your organization, and your strategy, I know there's some things that you hear more because we have technology, we have apps for everything. There's, like you said, there's opportunities to see on social media all the different things. You don't have to wonder anything. We always say, why am I wondering what that is? Let me just Google it, because there's no reason for me to guess or wonder. But there's something that came up in the media a few years ago and that was college planners. And there was a lot of scandal around people applying to college and getting into the colleges and things like that. So I want to educate just a little bit about the strategy piece to all of this is understanding the people that in your schools that you have at your fingertips, and understanding the difference between someone who's working just with your child and your family. And so in schools, as I said before, as a counselor, I thought I would get to hear about the goals and future of children and really help them through this type of process. But that's not what school counselors do. School counselors help students to guide them through their pathway of courses that they're taking. They talk to them about the difficulties if they're having issues at school, personal difficulties, academic difficulties, things like that. Oftentimes students don't go to see counselors when they have issues because they don't want their peers to see that they're going to see a counselor at school. So talking to your children and making sure that they, like you said, there's so much social emotional concern right now with our youth and also with our adults. So a child may not even be able to go home and talk to a parent about their issue because in the grand scheme of things, it may seem small and unimportant, but for them, it's huge and very important. And so talking to children about that, I also talk to counselors about that and try to help them along with great programs on how to have a great guidance program for your school. So I love that. And then, so academic coach is someone that works specifically with your child. They may have some academic needs that's beyond math tutoring. So math tutoring is math tutoring. I would never be a great math tutor for anyone, but I'm a great organizer. I'm a great planner. I'm a great strategist. So I can work with them on their daily habits and also work with them towards getting their math tutor and giving that information to them that they need to share with their math tutors so that they know in organization, here's the strategies I'm using. And then their math tutors giving them the nuts and bolts of math, maybe ELA and writing, depending on their level. And then, so we're going back and forth between me, the academic planner, helping them on their day-to-day, their weekly habits. I check in with students. I meet, for 45 minutes once a week. And then I check in on them 2 other times during the week. That's a coach. That's somebody that's just looking out for John, not a teacher that has to teach the whole class, and not the counselor that has to have over 500 students. A college planner is the person that starts at about 8th grade. I know that sounds really early, but it's not, because you're looking at the courses that you're going to take, your child is going to take, that's going to lead them to that application to college. They only will ever do that once, ever. You only apply to college once in your life. One time to an undergraduate program, once. You might choose to go to junior college first or a 4-year university, but you're never going to apply to college the same way as you apply to those the first time ever. There's a whole different process after that. You're either transferring, you're graduate, and then you're going to apply to a master's program, law school. There's so many different avenues after your undergraduate or a 2-year degree, or you may even be going to a trade school, but you only applied that way to a trade school once that way. And then after that, it's different. And the reason that's important to know is you need to know what the best things you need to have the best resume, the best application to put in place. You need to know those things ahead of time so that you do the right things on the journey to getting there. And so you might decide, I want to be, a paleontologist in 3rd grade. That usually comes up at about 3rd grade. And by the time you get to middle school, you're thinking, that's cool, but that's really not what I want to do as a career. I'm very interested in dinosaurs, but that's not what I want to do as a career. I want to do something else. And you start to look at, and in the state of Texas and many others, there's actual programs that your counseling team requires that they start to talk to you about your strengths and then what career fields might go along with that so that you can start to explore by the time you're in 9th grade, transitioning, planning, organizing. Who are the players? What's my role? What's their role? Strategy. And then in high school, you will fine tune that and decide what are the things that I really want to learn while I'm here so that I can take those credits on to college and save some money. So transitioning in college planning starts at about 8th grade. I have clients that I start working with their junior, senior year, and we have to do a lot of back work to make sure that not only do they get the academics, some people choose to do volunteering and things like that. That also helps to build a great resume. And then some students choose to work, have a career, and or their parents have a career that they can have internships and do free labor, but it's amazing experience to put on a resume that could really turn into something as they get to that application for college. And then for those of you who might be thinking about, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I tell you what, where I am, where I sit, because I get to do this as a living, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. There's so many cool things. There's new careers that you wouldn't believe are out there, that your talents in one area are bringing great value to brand new career fields. So many in technology, as we know, but others that you would never have thought of. Even in those tech careers that you might, plumbing, HVAC and things like that. Oh my goodness, there's so many new things. That are technology based as well, that have married career fields because of the technical piece that you need, and then the educational background that you might have gained with a career in computer technology or something like that. There's just so much. Cheryl, I wanted to come on just to be able to shed some light, but the time is almost done. And I know that there's just so many things that I share because of my background. So the two biggest chunks I want you to know is that there are a lot of people that it seems like they have such an easy time of it, and their kids seem like they get it, but they may get it. And they also may have someone that's just looking at them and coaching them along the way. It may not be on a regular basis. Maybe once or twice a year, they have a check-in to realign and make sure that they are in the right place, positioning themselves in the right way to stay on track and just be successful in this grade or with this sport. And so you have coaches that are just the person on a baseball team or a football team that's just, I call them the cleats coach. They're just the ones that's going to make sure they have the right kind of shoes for the right kind of play. They are coaching them in that way, but people don't always think about the academics and why some students appear to have it more together. Either they're being coached by a peer, somebody that's kind of a sideline. Their parents have gone through the same kind of journey and watching a neighbor or cousin or someone like that, or they've looked into having an academic coach and college planner to help them through that process. And I can tell you that is the one thing in this journey of having 5 children and taking a chance and going from a legal career to education that has really shaped my future, not just my past.
Well, I really, really can see the benefit of having a coach like you to help a child. I think that some parents, it's their thing. They enjoy doing this type of thing and following
Mhm.
up and tracking and but I would rather catch a whooping. I mean, I can't, that's just too much. And
Yeah.
life is too short, in my opinion, to do it all. And you obviously have a passion for helping kids. You have the passion. That's what you do. And that's a beautiful thing. I myself, and just do what I know. And you talked about interest or a talent, and just because they're good at something doesn't mean that they want to do it. I just think that this is so great, and I think that if anybody has children that are going up and they want to go extra, beyond high school, this is definitely something to be considered. So I definitely appreciate you so much. Are you there? Is everybody there? Everybody's frozen. Let me remove Joe. Let's see. I think you're frozen, but I wanted to put that up. Dacia, you're still there. Okay, so Thank you. It can be tough for them all on different levels of issues that plague our students at school and away from school. There you are, Joe.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I lost the signal.
No problem. I thought it was me. I thought
Yeah.
it was me. So we really appreciate you, and I want to know: are there any last words that you're still here? I was just checking. It was her. She was the one messing it up, not me. I'm usually the one messing it up. So we really, really appreciate you, and I put your information on. People can get in touch with you directly, and you could answer questions for them. Any last words?
Just pay attention to your own inner voice and pay attention to your children. Sometimes when things are hard, it's because you're not looking at the right things in the right way, and maybe you just need someone to bounce those ideas out, too. And just listen to that inner voice and go after those dreams. As you know, Cheryl, you just never know where one connection could take you to. So go for it, whatever it is.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. And know your children. And they're all individuals. I know that my two children were polar opposites. Miles asked me every day throughout elementary school, do I have to go today? Every single day. And of course, he got awards for not missing because I don't believe in that. And Bailey, she was
Yes.
just the opposite. She enjoyed studying and making A's. And so, yes, know your children. It is so important. I remember telling a counselor, this was a wise counselor. I said, my son is so smart because it was so smart naturally, algebra early, but he just was not interested. And so he begged me to get out of those AP classes. Mom, I want out. I want out. I want out. If you get me out, I'll make straight A's. Got him out. He never made straight A's. But the counselor told me, she said, you're only frustrating yourself. He's just not that interested. And so,
Yes.
yeah, it was wise.
Okay.
It's okay.
Working
Your
strengths.
child is
Yes.
okay. Your child is okay.
Yes.
We appreciate you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
your
much.
time. All
Yes.
right. Love you. Thank you, Beauty Box for him community for joining in. Love you guys. Now go forth and multiply.